धीमहि यो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नमः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
श्री राम तुहि श्री कृष्ण तुहि श्री राम कृष्ण हरे हरे। श्री
राम तुहि श्री कृष्ण तुहि श्री राम कृष्ण हरे हरे।
श्री राम तुहि श्री कृष्ण तुहि श्री राम कृष्ण हरे हरे।
श्री राम तुहि श्री कृष्ण तुहि श्री राम कृष्ण हरे हरे।
हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम।
हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम।
हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम।
हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम।
काली तुहि श्री दुर्गा तुहि श्री शारदा माता हरे हरे।
श्री काली तुहि श्री दुर्गा तुहि श्री शारदा माता हरे हरे।
काली तुहि श्री दुर्गा तुहि श्री शारदा माता हरे हरे।
श्री काली तुहि श्री दुर्गा तुहि श्री शारदा माता हरे हरे।
जय मां श्री मां जय मां श्री मां जय मां
श्री मां जय मां श्री मां जय मां श्री मां जय मां।
जय मां श्री मां जय मां श्री मां जय मां
श्री मां जय मां श्री मां जय मां श्री मां जय मां।
भोलानाथ तुहि नरेंद्र तुहि स्वामी विवेकानंद हरे हरे।
भोलानाथ तुहि नरेंद्र तुहि स्वामी विवेकानंद हरे हरे।
भोलानाथ तुहि नरेंद्र तुहि स्वामी विवेकानंद हरे हरे।
भोलानाथ तुहि नरेंद्र तुहि स्वामी विवेकानंद Jaya sambale Om Namah Shivaya Hare Shankara Shiva Sada Shiva Jaya sambale Om Namah Shivaya Hare Shankara Shiva Sada Shiva Jyoti Varmodi Mein Gangadhara Manik Malaya Nagendra Jyoti Varmodi Mein Gangadhara Manik Malaya Nagendra Jaya Sambale Om Namah Shivaya Hare Shankara Shiva Sada Shiva Kailasavasa Karunagara Anandam Velindri Mahadeva Kailasavasa Karunagara Anandam Velindri Mahadeva Jaya Shambale Om Namah Shivaya Hare Shankara Shiva Sada Shiva Gauri Shankara शिवा प्रभु एन्तुले नीये परमेश्वरा जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा लिङ्ग ज्योति राम कृष्ण ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा लिङ्ग ज्योति राम कृष्ण जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा गौरी मुनि गंगाधरा मालिकुमारी नागेन्द्रा कैलासवासा करुणाकरा आनंद वेरले महादेवा जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा गौरी शङ्कर साम्ब शिवा प्रभु एन्तुले नीये परमेश्वरा ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा लिङ्ग ज्योति राम कृष्ण जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा जय साम्बले ॐ नमः शिवाय हर शङ्करा शिव सदा शिवा ॐ श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुनाथा रामचन्द्र जगन्नाथा
रामचन्द्र रघुनाथा रामचन्द्र जगन्नाथा
रामचन्द्र रघुनाथा रामचन्द्र जगन्नाथा
रामचन्द्र रघुनाथा रामचन्द्र जगन्नाथा
रामचन्द्र रघुरामा रामचन्द्र परम धामा
रामचन्द्र रघुरामा रामचन्द्र परम धामा
रामचन्द्र रघुरामा रामचन्द्र परम धामा
रामचन्द्र रघुरामा रामचन्द्र परं धामा
रामचन्द्र मम बन्धो रामचन्द्र दया सिन्धो
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 रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुनाथा रामचन्द्र जगन्नाथा
रामचन्द्र रघुनाथा रामचन्द्र जगन्नाथा
रामचन्द्र रघुरामा रामचन्द्र परं धामा
रामचन्द्र रघुरामा रामचन्द्र परं धामा
रामचन्द्र मम बन्धो रामचन्द्र दया सिन्धो
रामचन्द्र मम बन्धो रामचन्द्र दया सिन्धो
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रामचन्द्र रघुवीरा रामचन्द्र रणधीरा
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
रघुरामा परं धामा
रघुरामा परं धामा
रघुरामा परं धामा
रघुरामा परं धामा
मम बन्धो दया सिन्धो
मम बन्धु दया सिन्धु
मम बन्धो दया सिन्धो
मम बन्धु दया सिन्धु
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
रघुवीरा रणधीरा
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
रघुनाथा जगन्नाथा
रघुरामा परं धामा
रघुरामा परं धामा
मम बन्धो दया सिन्धो
मम बन्धु दया सिन्धु
मम बन्धो दया सिन्धो
ॐ श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय श्री सियावर रामचंद्र की जय।
जय गणेश गणनाथ दयानिधि सकल विघन कर दूर हमारे मम वंदन स्वीकार करो प्रभु चरण शरण हम आए तुम्हारे जय गणेश गणनाथ दयानिधि जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
जय नंदलाला जय जय श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
मोर मुकुट सिर गल बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए केसर तिलक लगाए
मोर मुकुट सिर गल बनमाला केसर तिलक लगाए केसर तिलक लगाए
वृंदावन के कुंच गलिन में सबको नाच नचावे
ओहो
सबको नाच नचावे श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
यमुना किनारी देनु चरावे माधव मदन मुरारी माधव मदन मुरारी
यमुना किनारे धेनु चरावे माधव मदन मुरारी माधव मदन मुरारी
मधुरा मुरलिया चबी बजावे हर ले सुध बुध सारी
ओहो हर ले सुध बुध सारी
श्री राधे गोविंदा वन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
गिरधर नागर कहते मीरा सूर को श्यामल बाया सूर को श्यामल बाया
गिरधर नागर कहते मीरा सूर को श्यामल भाया सूर को श्यामल भाया
तुकाराम और नाम देव ने वित्तल वित्तल गाया
ओहो वित्तल वित्तल गाया
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला
राधा शक्ति बिना न कोई श्यामल दर्शन पावे श्यामल दर्शन पावे
राधा शक्ति बिना न कोई श्यामल दर्शन पावे श्यामल दर्शन पावे
आराधन करे राधे राधे काना बागे आवे
ओहो कान्हा भागे आवे
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
श्री राधे गोविंदा मन भजने हरि का प्यारा नाम है
गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है, नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है।
गोपाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है, नंदलाला हरि का प्यारा नाम है।
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला,
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला,
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला।
जय नंदलाला जय गोपाला। ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
Om Namo Narayanaya, Prarajika Ishtaprana Mataji and loving devotees. My talk this morning is on Gaurima. Gaurima was born in 1857 in Shivpur, Howrah, India. Her parents named her Mridani. Mridani was spiritually inclined even as a child. One day, a holy man was on his way to visit the Divine Mother at Kali Ghat. Gaurima, then 9 years old, was playing with some girls. Seeing the holy man, she was attracted to him and bowed down to him. The holy man asked, "Your friends are playing and you are not. Why?" Mridani replied, "Oh, I don't like to play those games. I felt an attraction when I saw you, so I came to you." The holy man touched the little girl's head and blessed her, saying, "May you attain devotion to Sri Krishna." Gaurima was still young when she received a stone image of Sri Krishna from a nun who told her, "This image of God is my all in all and is alive with divine energy. He has fallen in love with you, so I am giving him to you. My child, worship him. It will do you good." Gaurima accepted Sri Krishna as her husband, and for the rest of her life she carried the Lord with her and served him lovingly. When Gaurima was 13 years old, she told her mother, "I shall marry that bridegroom who is immortal," meaning she wished to marry only Lord Krishna and none else. However, the family arranged her marriage. She strongly refused, and with her mother's help she ran away from home. At the age of 18, Gaurima left with relatives and neighbors to go on pilgrimage to Ganga Sagar. On the third day of her stay, she disappeared into a crowd of pilgrims, disguising herself as a nun to evade recognition. She began traveling by train and went on foot to holy places throughout India. During her itinerant days, Gaurima practiced severe austerities such as fasting, observing silence, meditating, and studying the scriptures. Sometimes she repeated her mantram from sunrise to sunset. In 1882, Gaurima met Balaram Ghosh, a great householder devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. One day, Balaram said to Gaurima, "Sister, let us visit Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar. You have never seen such a wonderful holy man. If you do not see him, you will certainly miss something in your life." Gaurima smiled and replied, "I have seen many monks in my life, and I have no desire to see another. If your holy man has real power, then let him pull me." One morning, Gaurima began her daily worship to Lord Krishna. As she looked at the Lord's little feet, she saw 2 live human feet. At first she thought that it was an illusion. Observing carefully, she saw only those 2 real feet. Gaurima was frightened. The hair on her body stood on end. Her hands began trembling and she dropped the image. She soon lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Balaram realized that Gaurima was in samadhi. When Gaurima regained a little outward consciousness and pointed to her heart, she felt that somebody had tied a string to her heart and was pulling it. She passed the whole day and night in a semi-conscious state. The next morning, Balaram went to Dakshineshwar with Gaurima and his wife and some other women. They found Sri Ramakrishna seated in his room, winding thread around a stick and singing. When they arrived, Sri Ramakrishna just finished winding the thread and cordially received them. Gaurima understood that Sri Ramakrishna had attracted her heart, which he indicated by winding the thread. When she bowed down to the Master, she saw the same two divine feet that she had seen the previous day on the altar. She was overwhelmed with joy and astonishment. Uncertain, anxious, and bewildered, Gaurima took her seat at the back, sitting behind someone. Pointing to her, Sri Ramakrishna asked, "Balaram, who is she?" "My sister," he replied. Frowning a little, Sri Ramakrishna persisted, "Your sister?" Balaram hesitated a little, but said, "Yes, Maharaj." Then Sri Ramakrishna shook his head. Balaram Babu laughed and said, "She is the youngest sister of a close friend of mine. She regards my father as her father." Sri Ramakrishna smiled and nodded his head. "Then say that. She belongs here. I have known her for a long time." Balaram was surprised, as he had never mentioned Gaurima to Sri Ramakrishna, and she only agreed to go to Dakshineshwar after much effort. Looking at the ladies and neighbors who had accompanied him, Balaram laughingly said, "Did you see that? We all came here together, but Didi was the only one who passed." As they took leave, Sri Ramakrishna said to Gaurima, "Come again, my child." Gaurima believed that she was initiated by Sri Ramakrishna in her childhood, when she was only 10 years old. Gaurima lived as a companion to Sri Sarada Devi whenever she was at Dakshineshwar. While Gaurima was living at Dakshineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna gave her the ochre robe of a sannyasini and made arrangements for the accompanying rituals. Previously, Gaurima had worn a sannyasini's robes only as an external sign of renunciation. After this ritual, the Master gave her the name Gauriya Nanda. Sri Ramakrishna usually called her Gauri or Gaurdasi. Gaurima was the name by which she was generally known. Sri Ramakrishna had a very high opinion of Gaurima and once said, "Gauri is a perfect soul, a gopi of Vrindavan." Sri Ramakrishna wanted to fulfill a special mission through Gaurima. He realized that the women of the society were terribly neglected, especially in education, and it was his wish that Gaurima should work among them. One day he said to her, "The condition of women in this country is very poor and painful. You will have to work for them." Gaurima did not like the idea, however, and told Master, "It is hard for me to get along with worldly people. I don't care for all the hustle and bustle. Give me a few girls and I shall take them to the Himalayas and mold their character." But the Master said, "No, no. You will have to work in the city. You have practiced enough spiritual disciplines. Now you should serve the woman with your spiritual energy." Gaurima requested that she first return to Vrindavan to complete her search for Krishna Prem. She was reluctant to leave, having spent 3 years at Dakshineshwar. She did not realize that this would be the last time she would see the master, who later entered into Mahasamadhi. In 1894, Gauri Ma founded the Sri Shardeshwari Ashram for women. It was on the banks of the Ganga at Barakpur in Kolkata. With the help and encouragement of the local people and devotees from Calcutta, the ashrama began to expand in every possible way. Her viewpoint on her work was, do not seek name and fame. Do your work with a detached attitude. When you serve others, serve God in them. In 1900, in Calcutta, 5 years after Shardeshwari Ashram had been founded, there was a conference on women, Matri Sabha Adhibeshan, which many women attended. Gauri Ma spoke to them about the ideals of Hindu women, the goals of her ashram, and the way women could help work toward these goals. The sannyasini's glowing words, vast knowledge of the scriptures, high goals and ideals, and natural presentation deeply impressed the women at the conference. Her speech established Gauri Ma as a great orator. At the Panchavati in the Barakpur ashram one evening, at the peaceful hour of dusk, Gauri Ma softly sang a song which she had composed. As she sang, tears rolled from her eyes. Twilight gradually faded, and the darkness became dense as night advanced. The stars twinkled in the night. There was the gentle swishing of the Ganges brushing the nearby shore. In that heavenly calm in the Panchavati ashram, Gauri Ma stood still in deep samadhi. Gradually, the pure light of dawn spread over the landscape, and Gauri Ma was still in samadhi. Early in the morning, as the villagers came to worship Lord Shiva at the Panchavati, they were amazed to see Gauri Ma standing like a goddess, completely unaware of the outer world, speechless, motionless, a divine glow on her face. In 1911, the Shardeshwari Ashram was moved to Kolkata. At this time, there were about 12 single or widowed women living at the ashram. They taught about 60 students. Gauri Ma personally collected money, food, and clothes for the ashram. Many of her former students also taught at the school. Gauri Ma discussed spiritual matters whenever the opportunity arose. Once someone asked, "What is the essence of the Gita?" In reply, she said, "Surrender yourself to God. That is the essence and the ultimate message of the Gita." On another occasion, when a judge was having a discussion with Gauri Ma, the topic soon turned to devotion and spiritual experiences. The judge asked her, "Can we truly see the Lord?" Gauri Ma replied, "Yes, sir, we can truly see the Lord, but to see him we need to practice sadhana, austerity. A person may try to send a letter without postage, but how can it reach its destination? If you love him with all your heart, you will be able to see him face to face." On 28th February 1938, the day of Shivratri, Gauri Ma started consciously preparing for death and passed away the following day. Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi once said, "A great soul is always a rarity, having hardly any parallel. Gaurdasi is one such soul." May the glorious life of Gauri Ma encourage us on our spiritual path. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
आञ्जनेयाय विद्महे वायुपुत्राय धीमहि मन मुकुर सुधार वरनो रघुवर विमल यश जोदायक फलचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय चौपाई जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत तुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुवेशा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन चिंतामन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिया दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए संजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई सहस बदन तुम्हरो यश गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा नारद शारद सहित अहिषा यम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाए राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र योजन पर भानो लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानो प्रभु मोद्रिका मिलि मुख माहि जल्दी राम जय अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिना पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपने तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को भावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंतकाल रघुपति पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चेतन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट हरे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलवीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शतवार पाठ कर कोई, छूटई बंदी महासुख होई। जोय परे हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीशा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, जय नाथ हृदय महादेरा। जय नाथ हृदय महादेरा। दोहा पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। श्री अम्बे अम्बे मात की जय।
Om Namo Narayanaya. Dear sisters and brothers, let us sit calmly, be relaxed, and think of any aspect of God that you like. A verse in praise of Sri Sarada Devi says, O bee in the form of my mind, give up sitting on the flowers of worldly pleasures and sip the honey from the lotus of mother's feet, for getting rid of the disease of this world. O Sri Sarada Devi, the mother of the universe, we offer our salutations to you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम तत्सत्। जय श्री गुरु महाराज की जय, महामाई की जय, स्वामी जी महाराज की जय, गंगा मात की जय, महावीर स्वामी जी की जय, सर्व ऋषि मुनियों की जय,
पार्वती पतये हर हर महा